A struggling Korean family risked everything to chase a dream in the middle of nowhere. But their American dream quickly turned into a nightmare. With no money, no support, and a marriage falling apart, Jacob Yi was determined to turn empty farmland into a successful farm, even if it meant losing the people he loved most. His wife feared their new life would destroy their family, especially with their young son battling a dangerous heart condition. But when an unpredictable grandmother arrives from Korea, she changes everything, teaching a scared little boy that he is stronger than anyone believes. This is the heartbreaking story of a family that nearly broke apart, before discovering the one thing that could finally bring them back together. Before we dive into this emotional journey, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next unforgettable movie story we uncover. Now, let's begin. The film opens to the Yi family arriving in Arkansas with a plan that exists mostly in the father's head. Jacob Yi is a determined, quietly stubborn man who has decided that the flat, open land of rural Arkansas holds something California never offered him: the right soil, the right conditions, and the right price to grow Korean vegetables and build something entirely his own. His wife Monica makes the trip without sharing his conviction. She quietly takes in the wide, empty land, the trailer house sitting at the edge of a flat field, and the absence of anything resembling a neighborhood. Monica then tells him the home is not what she pictured. The distance from town, from a hospital, from any kind of urban infrastructure is not what she agreed to when Jacob described the plan. Jacob assures her that everything is going to be fine and urges her to come inside. She is more worried about their son David, who has a heart condition serious enough that she tracks his symptoms carefully and reminds him not to run. She has always kept the distance between their front door and the nearest emergency room calculated at all times. Arkansas puts that distance at a number she finds very difficult to accept. Jacob, however, does not share her worry. He takes Monica and the children out to show them the land mass and tells her the soil color is the reason he picked the location. She remains unconvinced. He brags to David that he is going to build a beautiful big garden. Monica and Jacob both take shifts at a nearby chicken hatchery, sexing chicks on a processing line for wages that cover the household's immediate needs. The work is repetitive and the hours are long. Jacob comes out for a smoke and finds David nearby. He tells him that men have to create their own values, and that is why he is building his own farm. Sensing that David shares his fascination with the idea, Jacob tells him to let his mother know he likes the place. A quiet attempt to change her mind on Arkansas. Driving home, Monica raises the idea of moving to Rogers, a town better equipped for emergencies with a hospital nearby, where they could find a Korean babysitter and Jacob could buy 5 acres for his farm. Jacob dismisses it, explaining that 5 acres is too small for what he has in mind. Monica continues pressing her concerns, but Jacob is out of touch. That night, a tornado warning comes through on the news. Jacob tells the family to get ready to drive to safety, then almost immediately tells them to wait and watch until the danger is confirmed. Monica, frustrated by his indifference to the urgency, hits him with a pillow and calls him crazy. The two quickly fall into a heated argument, leaving their children, David and Anne, no choice but to send paper airplane messages begging them to stop fighting. Things settle briefly after Jacob slams his palm on the table. He tells Monica this is the new beginning they have been waiting for. She tells him that if this is what he wants, she doubts their marriage has any future. The next morning, the children ask if they're moving. Monica explains that after a long talk with their father, they've decided to stay, but their grandmother will be coming to live with them. Later that morning, Jacob invites a local water diviner who attempts to locate water underground with a forked stick. However, after hearing the cost of the digging, he sends the man away, claiming he never trusted the method anyway. He tells David that Koreans use their heads, not fortune-telling, and that a man should never pay for something he can get for free. He selects a spot on the land himself and digs the well there. While Jacob works the land, Monica prepares for her mother's arrival with Anne. Jacob eventually strikes water and celebrates with David. The next morning, Jacob buys a tractor without consulting Monica. She finds out and tells him to consider David's health before spending what little money they have. Jacob calls it an investment and insists the rewards will come. He looks at her, tells her she looks happy because her mother is coming, and that she is prettiest when she is happy. He kisses her forehead and leaves. For a while, the family moves in the same direction. Jacob works the farm, the well provides water, and the tension seems to ease. Soon after, Monica's mother, Sunja, arrives from Seoul. Monica is thrilled to see her, but Sunja quickly proves she's nothing like a conventional grandmother. Blunt, outspoken, and unapologetically herself, she arrives carrying suitcases filled with Korean staples. Seeing a piece of home again overwhelms Monica, bringing her to tears. While Monica and her mother unpack, David walks in and whispers to her that Sunja does not look like a grandmother. Sunja overhears and hands him a pack of cards as a reward for the compliment. Monica objects. Sunja offers him a chestnut instead. David refuses it. He has built a clear and specific picture of what a grandmother is supposed to be, and Sunja satisfies none of it. He avoids her with the polite hostility of a child who has not yet learned to conceal his disappointment. He later sneaks back into the room to retrieve the cards. To work the farm, Jacob enlists Paul, a Korean War veteran, loudly and strangely religious. Paul is eccentric in the specific way that people who have survived particular things sometimes become. Completely unself-conscious about it, unbothered by how it reads to anyone watching, and quietly dependable beneath all of it. Jacob and Paul work alongside each other with the particular compatibility of two people who are not much alike, but need the same things from the arrangement. One afternoon, Sunja takes David and Anne to a nearby creek, carrying the Minari seeds she brought from Seoul. While Anne stays back, too nervous to climb down, Sunja plants the seeds with David beside her. As she presses them into the soil, she explains that Minari is a hardy plant that thrives with little care and grows where other plants cannot. David listens closely, beginning to see a different side of his grandmother as they work together by the water. During dinner, a soft love song plays in the background. Sunja casually mentions that Monica and Jacob used to love that song back in Korea, before they came to America, and their affection for each other slowly faded away. Concerned that Monica might be growing isolated, Jacob suggests they attend church so she and the children can meet people. The following Sunday, the whole family goes. During the offering, instead of contributing, Sunja takes some of the money Monica placed in the box. David watches with undisguised amusement. The attempt at socializing does not take root, and Monica tells Jacob they should use Sundays for work instead. On their way home, Jacob spots Paul walking the road carrying a large wooden cross. When Jacob asks why, Paul says it is out of love for Jesus Christ. One morning, while a wrestling match plays on television, David tells Sunja she is not a real grandmother. She swears and she cannot cook or bake. Sunja ignores him and asks him to bring her water. David fills a cup with his own urine and presents it to her and heads towards the door. As soon as Sunja drinks it, David sprints out of the house. Jacob learns what happened and moves to punish David, but Sunja pleads for leniency and promises David she will be a real grandmother from now on. Jacob sends David outside to fetch a cane. Instead, David comes back carrying a small leaf. While Jacob is unimpressed, Sunja bursts into laughter and praises David for being clever. One day, the well Jacob dug with all his confidence runs dry. He selects another spot and digs again, but the water does not hold. He works the ground hard and gets nothing. That night, he asks Monica to help him take off his clothes and wash his hair because his arms hurt too much to manage it himself. Monica obliges. While she washes his hair, she lays out the family's finances plainly. They are losing money and the situation is serious. Jacob reassures her that things will turn around. He tells her that if the farm fails, she is free to do whatever she needs to do, even if that means leaving with the children. The following day, Jacob connects to the county water supply to compensate for the failed well, at a cost that cuts directly into margins he was counting on. The crops begin to grow, and Jacob's Dallas contact expresses interest in buying Korean produce on a regular basis. Then the Dallas vendor cancels the order without adequate notice or compensation. The revenue Jacob had built his next phase around disappears entirely. He returns to the hatchery, distracted and struggling to concentrate as the pressure continues to build. The water in the house stops running, adding another layer of tension between him and Monica. Meanwhile, the relationship between Soon-ja and David improves. She teaches him hwatu, the traditional Korean card game, and the two spend long stretches at the kitchen table playing with genuine competitive focus. Soon-ja, sharp and without mercy, David learning the patterns fast and beginning to hold his own. When David injures himself and voices his anxiety about his heart, Soon-ja treats him with brisk, unhesitating reassurance. She bandages the wound and moves on. She tells him he is stronger than his parents believe, that he should do more rather than less, that they are too cautious with him. For a boy who has grown up surrounded by adults who respond to his heart with visible worry and careful restriction, the difference in her approach is immediate. He begins to trust her. One afternoon outdoors, Soon-ja watches David walk briskly and asks whether he wants to run. Despite his reluctance, she convinces him he is strong enough. They return to the creek and find that the Minari has blossomed. She explains its resilience again, the way it spreads and holds without needing much. On the way back, she and David carry buckets of water from the creek to the house. When Monica learns of it later, she protests that David is not strong enough for that kind of labor. Soon-ja tells her he is stronger than she thinks. David overhears his mother saying that the doctors warned his heart could stop at any time. It unsettles him enough that he cannot sleep. Soon-ja notices. She holds him close and tells him she will not let anything bad happen to him. He finds comfort in her and sleeps. The next morning, David notices Soon-ja is not moving. He calls Anne. Neither of them understands what is wrong. Soon-ja has suffered a stroke overnight. One side of her body unresponsive, her speech arriving incomplete and incoherent. Monica takes her to the hospital. With both parents unable to be home and their grandmother hospitalized, David and Anne spend the night at a neighbor's house. Soon-ja survives, but she is not the same person who arrived from South Korea. The woman who planted seeds along the creek and beat David at cards without effort now needs help with things she once handled without thought. Monica blames herself and resolves to take better care of her family. Her position on returning to California hardens into a practical argument. Soon-ja needs a level of care the mobile home and the surrounding rural county cannot adequately provide, and David's cardiology appointment is approaching. She puts this to Jacob directly. He does not tell her she's wrong. He does not agree to leave. The conversation ends without resolution. Monica considers taking Soon-ja back to California herself, with David if his health requires it. The family waits for the appointment. Monica invites Paul to come pray for Soon-ja and bless her room. The family joins in. Jacob participates with visible indifference. Afterward, Paul quietly urges Jacob to be more supportive of his wife. Jacob dislikes the advice. As soon as Paul leaves, he confronts Monica about discussing their private life with an outsider, but Monica denies discussing anything with him. David watches from the hallway, then goes back into Soon-ja's room and tells her that it is her fault his parents fight so much and that she should not have come. The next morning, Monica thanks Soon-ja for giving her money, then leaves for Oklahoma City with the children for David's cardiology appointment. Jacob brings a box of his crops to sell on the way. Monica is not impressed. She reminds him they are here for David and nothing else should matter. Jacob clutches the box anyway and brings it with him into the cardiologist's office building. While they wait for the results, Jacob brings up the life they left behind in Korea. The difficulty, the promise they made to save each other when they got to America, and how all they have managed to do instead is fight. He suggests that David's illness may be their punishment. Monica asks him to come back to California. She tells him she cannot raise the children without him. Jacob says he has no intention of returning to California to sex chickens for the rest of his life. He insists he must finish what he started, even if that means sacrificing their marriage. In saying so, he acknowledges, without meaning to frame it so directly, that the farm's success matters to him more than the family's stability. This breaks Monica, but she holds it in. The cardiologist delivers a result neither parent was fully prepared for. David's condition has improved substantially, dramatically enough that surgery is removed from consideration entirely. Immediately after the appointment, Jacob meets with a Korean grocer and locks in a regular supply agreement for his produce. Monica watches the exchange in disbelief. Jacob steers them into a conversation just outside the shop, and Monica sends the children to wait in the car. She tells Jacob plainly that he now places his crops above his family, that she has lost faith in him, and that money alone will not save what is breaking between them. Realizing there is no way forward, they agree to separate, leaving both of them heartbroken and emotional. They drive home in silence, but as they near the farm, they spot a thick column of smoke rising from their property. During their absence, Youn-jung wandered into the barn where Jacob's harvested crops are stored. While trying to burn the refuse she swept up nearby, she accidentally starts a fire. She tries to put it out, but the fire spreads too quickly, tearing through the dry timber of the barn and consuming Jacob's farm produce stored inside. Jacob arrives and tells the others to stay in the car. He goes directly for the crops. Monica follows him in. They start moving the crates of produce. The flames quickly spread out of control, forcing Jacob and Monica to abandon any hope of saving the harvest. As thick smoke fills the barn, Monica collapses from the fumes. Jacob finds her and drags her to safety moments before the burning structure gives way and collapses behind them. In a matter of minutes, years of effort, sacrifice, and hope are reduced to ashes. Meanwhile, overcome with guilt, Youn-jung wanders off aimlessly. Anne and David call after her from the yard, but she keeps walking. For the first time, David runs after her without hesitation. He races ahead, steps into her path and stops her. He gently takes her hand. Together, he and Anne lead her back toward the house. That night, the whole family sleeps on the floor of the living room, close enough to feel whoever is beside them while Youn-jung sits and watches over them. The morning after, Jacob goes to the creek with David. He finds the Minari Youn-jung planted months ago still growing along the bank, spreading wide and untended, exactly as she said it would. Jacob crouches at the water's edge and harvests some of the plants. He notes that Youn-jung indeed picked a good spot to plant it. In the aftermath, Jacob and Monica decide to start over. They invite the water diviner back, and this time Jacob trusts his judgment, allowing him to choose a spot for a new well. The decision reflects their renewed commitment to the farm, their family, and a fresh start together. And that was Minari, a story about dreams, sacrifice, family, and the quiet strength it takes to start over when everything seems lost. If this story touched you, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss another powerful movie recap. We bring you the most emotional, unforgettable, and hidden stories from films around the world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.